are you? Welcome to another language coaching lesson. And in this lesson, I want to talk to you about how you can make your language sound a little bit more advanced, even if you are in a beginner level. So there are three things that really help you sound more of a higher level. So people don't really notice that your English is not a high intermediate level or advanced level, right? One thing is fluency, speaking without pause and without interference of your native language. Another thing is complexity, the complexity of your language. So when I ask you, how old are you? Do you answer 32, 19, and that's it? So we need more complexity. And finally, intonation, which is something that I always emphasize. Intonation is really important because it helps the other person. If the other person is native, it helps the person feel more connected to you. And if the person is not native, your interlocutor will think, oh, so this guy knows English because you sound like you know, right? It's a trick. So let's start with fluency. Fluency is being able to speak without interruption. And that doesn't mean that you need to speak fast. That is something that we really need to take into account when we're dealing with fluency. It's not that you need to speak very fast like this and don't make any silence. No. You need to speak continuously, right? So the other person can, be connected to your message without having these blank moments where you don't say anything. It's strange to have those moments of silence in your speech. So the idea is that you can speak maybe not very fast, but without stopping, with a rhythm, right? So this is important because sometimes when we stop, it's like we lose the idea that we wanted to communicate. So when you lose your inspiration, when you forget what you were saying, of course you're gonna have more and more of these silent moments. Another aspect of fluency is the interference of your language or of your native language. So instead of saying cocina, I don't know, cocina, right? Like if you don't remember kitchen, don't use your native language. Try not to use your native language in the middle because that will interfere with your English and your fluency will be damaged, let's say, right? So try when you don't remember the word you want to say, be it cocina or interferencia, right? Whatever the word is, try to use in English, explain the word. In that, if you don't remember kitchen, in that where we cook, where everybody cooks in my house. You explain the concept instead of saying the word in Spanish. This is something that we want to do because usually our teachers speak our same native language, and that is a mistake. We shouldn't use the native language in our English class and in our English practice, okay? So try to be fluent. Now, number 2, complexity. We were asking about your age. How old are you? So it doesn't matter if you don't use advanced tenses like perfect tenses or perfect continuous tenses in answering your age. But it is kind of strange to just answer 32 if it's a normal conversation, right? You would say something like, I am 32, I am not 32, but let's use that as an example. I am 32 and my birthday is next month. You know, you're not using anything strange. You are just using simple present verb to be. My birthday is in, oh well, my birthday is next month, and I am 32. Like, it's simple present verb to be, but you are giving extra information with which gives the feeling of you being comfortable with speaking the language. Because if you're not comfortable, you would just say yes, no, 32, Paraguayan, you know? So the idea is to give extra information, and not only extra information. So here it goes, because I always talk about, if you are my student, you know that I always ask students to give an answer plus extra information. Like, I am a teacher, I teach English in Paraguay. Something like that, right? That is extra information. But then the complexity of your language is thinking. What do you do? I work. Okay, where? I work in a language institute. What do I teach? I work in a language institute and I teach English, you know? So all of that can be your answer in one sentence. And it doesn't need to be a very advanced tense or using very strange vocabulary, right? It's just adding more information in your answer. That will make it complex because you have more than one important idea in your answer, okay? So fluency, complexity, and finally intonation. You know, when, I don't know if you ever studied at a traditional language academy where they say, repeat after me, right? And they play the, well, it was a cassette before, now they play an audio, and you need to repeat the audio, and usually it's something like, we had some ice cream during the weekend, right? And students, some students repeat, we had some ice cream during the weekend, right? And it's not the same intonation. So intonation is important so you can sound as if you are speaking that language. You change the musicality of your communication depending on the language you're using. So if you're using Spanish, you will use a flat intonation, right? If you're using English, you need to go up and down all the time so the other person feels you're using that intonation. Like I always say, you can use perfect grammar, but if your intonation is not an English intonation, you will still not sound advanced. So, and this is something that happens so much. Like I know people who think that other people speak great English because they speak with a very, you know, English intonation, be it American or British. Like they really work on their intonation to sound like totally English. But when you know about the language and you listen to the person, you say like, oh my God, there are so many mistakes in his or her sentence, what he or she is saying, that there's no formal education in the language in this person, right? But the majority of people don't really know that. They don't realize that because they are only thinking about the intonation. Oh my God, yeah, that guy sounds like the movies, right? So they assume that their level of English is higher. So that is a trick that a lot of people do. And I think is, you know, is fair, right? To try to mimic the intonation so you can sound a little bit higher in your level of English. But you need to be honest and try to also learn grammar, right? So remember, fluency. Try not to speak so fast, normally, but without stopping. Try not to mix languages in your communication. Complexity. Always add extra information to your answers and also think what, where, when, and add that to your sentences. And finally, intonation. Whenever you're watching something, try to repeat, but not only repeating and mimicking pronunciation, but also intonation, because that is a parameter that a lot of people take into account, okay? So have those 3 points in mind, and you will see that no matter your level, you will sound a little bit more advanced. See you next time.